Another day, another franchisor. ReUp Living coming up next. All right, Andrew. Easiest question one is, how did you fall into franchising? And then we'll get into the beef of stuff.
Yeah. So back in 2021, we were looking at a way to expand our business and took a look at what some of our competitors had done in hiring project managers. And we decided we wanted to take our concept and make it available to the general public so that we could help them create winning situations in real estate in their local markets. So we decided to opt for a franchise model and help people create those situations for themselves.
All right. So you were operating a corporate location at that point?
Correct. We were operating two corporate locations, Austin, Texas, and San Antonio, Texas.
And so at what point does franchising come into the picture? Like, is it because you start realizing what the scale potential is, or what at least drove you're watching competitors, but what drove you to say, all right, we're going to go ahead and invest in this too?
Yeah. So when we took a look at what our goal was, which was nationwide expansion, and we wanted to expand at a quicker pace, we took a look at it and said, we've built a great model and we understand the two markets where we're operating from a corporate perspective, but we know that we don't know everything about every real estate market in the United States. So who do we partner with and how do we find the right partners to help us understand other markets, say in Boise, Idaho, or in Baltimore, Maryland, or in San Diego, California? Places that are completely different from Texas, and expand and take our model and create opportunities in those markets.
How many franchisees do you have now?
So we have now signed on, I think it's 12 franchisees. We have 2 in Michigan. We have Houston, San Antonio, New Braunfels, South Dallas. So 4 franchisees in Texas. We have Las Vegas. We have Colorado, in Denver. We have Central Florida, and getting ready to open up here in Idaho. And then hopefully a second location coming in next week in Colorado.
That's great. And when did you officially start franchising?
So we launched our FDD in June of 2022, onboarded our first 3 franchisees, Houston, Las Vegas, and South Dallas, in mid-July of 22, and then have kicked it off since then.
So if you think back to you make the decision to go into franchising, is this meeting your expectations? Is hitting what you thought would happen? Is it exceeding your expectations? Where do you kind of stand there?
Yeah. So in some ways, I think I'm exceeding expectations for what I wanted to do originally. I wanted to have nice, slow, steady growth. Part of what we've tried to do is create a more so family environment for our franchisees by having group onboarding. So what we'll do is we will capture 2, 3, even 4 franchisees that are pending, and we'll do an onboarding together with them on location at one of our current franchise locations. That way they get to meet somebody who's already owning and operating a ReUp Living franchise and is successful at operating it. They also get to have this class of individuals that they join in together and can have this bond of, hey, we've all jumped in here together. I've got you for support. You've got me for support. Additionally, we can lean in on corporate, or we can lean in on our current operating franchisee.
That's great. So where are franchisees coming from now? How are they even finding you?
Yeah, so it's really been completely grassroots for us on finding franchisees. We've hit a lot of real estate conferences over the past year. Also have offered incentives to our current franchisees if they know individuals that they think would be a good fit for our program, and have them join on.
Okay, that makes sense. So all in all, for getting out of the gates, you're a little bit over north of a year of doing this. You're feeling pretty good about it. Where do you go in the future? What does, say, the next year or next 3 years look like?
Yeah, it's a great question. So actually I think it was early September, we launched an area representative agreement We had some current franchisees that expressed interest in taking on more territory than our FTD currently allows. And they're operating at a high level. So we trust them to actually go and open entire states for us. So looking at having somebody open up the remainder of Texas and looking at having somebody open up all of Florida for us.
If you had to define what the business opportunity is, how would you sell this? Or if you had to sum it up in what is your business position? How would you position that?
Yeah, so ReUp it's a unique opportunity. So we're a prop tech platform that combines all aspects of the home renovation process into a seamless offering for homeowners with no out-of-pocket costs. We do that by helping real estate agents and homeowners make more money by getting that house renovated and ready to sell on market. We also have a patented process where we take the home to about 90% completed, list it on the market through a prescriptive listing program, and then allow the buyers to then come in and choose all their finish outs. We create our big differentiator in that is we create a 3D digital twin that then allows the buyers to understand and see what that home is going to look like before we go and install the materials. It saves time, labor, and money for everybody involved in the process.
So do you see, obviously you're helping a lot of different groups in that scenario. You're helping the agent sell the dream on that home. You're helping the buyer understand what the opportunities are with that home. And I imagine you're also helping sellers see if I did X, it's going to increase value or the likelihood of me moving home. Are all those accurate?
Yeah, all of that would be accurate. Essentially, ReUp was founded when we took a look at the flipping industry and we said, real estate has been the greatest wealth generator for a lot of Americans over the past 30 years. As we've seen home prices increase faster than wages. We take a look at that and say, okay, there's this whole flipping industry that's about $600 billion in the US right now. So we took a look at it and said, okay, how do we put some of these dollars into the owners themselves versus having them sell for pennies on the dollar or a discounted price just because they don't have the funds to fix up the home or have the knowledge to fix it up. We identified also that 7 in 10 homeowners have less than $1,000 in their bank account. And so where are they going to come up with funds for maybe $10,000 to put new paint and carpet in? Or where are they going to come up with $80,000 to completely renovate an entire home?
So in those scenarios, how are you helping guide them in that framework?
Yeah, so what we do is we take our expertise and our model and we come in, we manage the contractors, we negotiate the budgets on the project, we front all the capital for the renovations, and we source all the materials for the homeowners. So for them, it's a completely hands-off experience. Turn it over to the experts. You're looking at us to help make you more money at the end of the day. So let us do what we're good at and take charge of those projects.
So for the franchisee, are you looking for people that have experience in the category, or are you doing all the back end stuff and their job is to build relationships in the community?
Biggest things that we look for in franchisees are real estate experience. I need you to understand and know what's going on in your local real estate market. I need you to have some project management experience, and I need you to be good at relationship building. What ReUp does for our franchisees, we're a very, very involved franchisor. We're taking care of all the underwriting on the back end, all the sourcing of the capital, all of the real operations of the business, and handling that internally so that you, franchisee, can be solely focused on your sales pipeline, generating leads, and focusing on creating great customer experiences in your local market.
Which I would imagine, like you setting some of the foundational elements, both going through corporate and for your approach to franchising, it made this not easy to sell, but simpler for the franchise buyer to understand what you're actually providing to them.
Yeah, I mean, we've taken and we've worked with individuals who have we have franchise owners that have 15 years flipping experience, and they came and they said, why would I risk my own capital when I can pay an upfront franchise fee to ReUp, and they're going to cover all of the capital raising for me. They're going to really cover all the details. I need to find the projects and I need to manage them. Yeah. Make sure they come in under budget and that they come in on time. So much lower risk for those individuals looking to get into real estate flipping.
What are the all-in costs right now to open up a franchise?
Yeah, so right now we have a $45,000 franchise fee that encompasses a territory of up to 1 million individuals. That is a completely protected territory. No other franchisee is allowed to prospect within your protected zone. Really, if you have a cell internet connection and a car, you're pretty much good to go after that.
So, out of curiosity, when you have such a lower cost investment, you're still looking for professionals. How are you putting more restraints in the qualification pipeline? Like if you're looking at someone who could come up with $45,000, or in way things are financed, call it somewhere between 10 and 20% of that in a cash basis.
Mhm.
How are you putting scaffolding around who you're saying yes to in that process?
So what we're doing is, I'd say about 90 to 95% of our franchisees right now own their own real estate brokerage or own another franchise that is a real estate related franchise. A lot of people own a real estate franchise that's a brokerage, or they've started their own. So by that, we know that they know a lot about their market, having to run agents, train agents, and bring agents in. They're also they're also familiar with how a franchise operates, and they also understand how to run a business. So we're qualifying people on that part. I can teach you project management, I can teach you real estate finance, and I can teach you sales techniques. But you've got to have this. You've got to have this want and this desire to succeed, not just kind of buy a box and be an absentee owner.
I mean, for what it's worth, what you're saying, I find valuable back to what the business offering is. And again, like my 2 cents, I hear what you're saying. I want to see that on your franchise site. Like you're actually saying, like, look, we've engineered a latch on business that if you own something else, let's find an additional way to drive revenue back to your total portfolio. And here's some examples of franchise owners who have come from 1 degree separated of the industry that we happen to occupy. And some of those insights are so deeply valuable that right now, and I'm sure I'm telling you nothing new, but on your franchise positioning, it's just like franchise. But I like seeing a why you, why now. When you can really clarify that message, it makes the sales process easier, and you're letting anybody that's coming to your website clearly understand why they actually want to fill out that form.
Yeah, I mean the biggest thing that I'll tell you is a lot of our franchisees come from a flat fee broker model
Yeah.
where they're coming in there and it's like each one of their agents is paying somewhere between $5.95 to $7.95 per transaction. They're taking a small cut of that, paying some of that back to their franchisor. When you look at ReUp and we come in and we say, let's say a deal does a minimum of 20,000 to ReUp. Our franchisees are walking with about 14,000 in that scenario before covering additional costs. If they look at that and they say, holy crap, I just did 70 transactions
Yeah.
with one re-up deal. So how many agents do I have to have? What's my info to get 70 transactions completed? Or do I take 3 months to 4 months, run one re-up project, and I've made the same amount of money?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's where obviously you've engineered the magic. I would imagine, and maybe this is not the right statement, but we can see what the media is saying about housing right now, that it's a little bit tighter than it has been. And when you have interest rates at what they are, it costs a little bit more to buy a home. So you have rising prices, higher interest rates. It makes it a little bit more concerning. But for you don't play alongside what the trends are in real estate when it's tightening up because you're solving other issues. Is that accurate?
I would say we're actually that's accurate to a degree. We
Yeah.
are still beholden to interest rates overall and the ebb and flow of the buying and selling market,
Yeah.
because we're taking these homes and our goal is to sell them at the end of the day. We don't get paid until that home actually closes and cash comes in. So for homeowners, we're not charging them any interest, which is great. Franchisees, you're waiting just like we are to get the cash in. So we got to make sure that we have the best product out there that's going to turn over the fastest. As some agents have told me, it doesn't matter what the situation is or what the interest rates are. People are always going to have to buy and people are always going to have to sell.
Yeah.
So as interest rates decrease, we see it become a little bit more of a seller's market. We see volume pick up, but as interest rates increase, we're not seeing sales just come to a halt. And if we look back historically, a 6 to 7% interest rate is not outside the normal. People just became used to over the last 13 years or so of such depressed rates that they think that that is the new normal now, to be at 3.5%.
Yeah, and well, the problem that you're solving though is you're still impacting the quality of the home at sale, and you're not going to get paid until it sells anyway. So you're going to be motivated to make the tweaks that will make a buyer say, it doesn't matter. This is the house that I want. Like, you should help make the home more marketable.
Yeah, 100%. And so that's another selling point that we have for homeowners is we're not going to come in here and sell you a bunch of BS that's going to say, hey, this is a lot of money in our pocket, because we're not set up to charge a percentage on what we invest in the property like a traditional general contractor. We don't make our money unless the homeowner makes money, but to that same degree. So we're always going to do the top things that are going to bring in the most value. We're always looking at kitchens, bathrooms, floors, paint, fixtures, appliances, major systems like roof, foundation, plumbing, HVAC, electrical. All of that stuff is going to add value. We've had people that came to us before and said, hey, we had somebody say we should really put $80,000 worth of waterfalls in our backyard because it would be a great wedding venue for somebody to buy. That 80,000 isn't going to sell that house. And then, so looking at it from a homeowner standpoint, it really does help them understand that this home is no longer your home; it's an investment. Let's invest the dollars in here to get you a greater return on the back end. Did I answer the question? Kind of.
Yeah. I think you did great at it. I mean, like, ultimately, your positioning. I see the point of differentiation. Your positioning solves for homeowners, your positioning solves for agents, and your positioning solves for franchisees, because you've created a structure here that is built on the success, or is able to finance some of the work that they're going to have to do anyway. They got to go find the deals for you that you've engineered this corporately. So now it just comes, I'm sure it's a matter of how fast can you expand into more states and get more projects.
That's really it. What does that magic number on expansion look like? And what does that magic number on projects look like before we're really at capacity? And I think we do a good job of trying to help our franchisees understand what your personal capacity is.
Yeah.
We found that out the hard way. We tried to manage 6 or 7 deals at the same time. 1 or 2 slipped a little slower than we would like. So we look at a franchisee who might be selling, they might be running the office and managing projects. You can probably manage 4 deals efficiently. When you get 6, it's either time to, maybe you've got a business partner and they're helping out, you're each doing 3 and 3, or maybe you look at hiring a project manager at that point to come in, and that project manager can handle all 6 while you focus on building your pipeline. I'd like to say that probably the biggest differentiator that we have and why we find our system so cohesive is our founder, Ryan Sawchuk. His whole position is creating winning situations. So we've set it up so that when the homeowner wins, the agent comes in and wins behind them. Before franchising, ReUp came in and won alongside both the homeowner and the agent. Now we've added in that additional layer of the franchisee. So we've created 4 winning situations out there in just one transaction.
That's great. I mean, it's a cool business. I mean, I will say there's nothing that I've seen like it. There are extensions, whether it's a renovation brand or there's one called Show Homes that does mild renovations and staging. So like there's things that are on the periphery of what you're doing, but I think you guys have found a unique positioning. Is there anything else you want, say, a ghost candidate that's been watching this so far to know about the business?
Really, I would say ReUp's biggest differentiator from any other renovations company or any of our competition within our space is we own the patent, which is a patent pending on what we call customize your new home. So we renovate a home to about 90% completed. I may have mentioned this. And then we allow the buyers to choose all the finish outs. What that does for us is it cuts down on our timeline. So it might take us 8 weeks to get that home ready to list on the market. Let's say it spends 2 weeks on the market and then 30 days under contract. Once it goes under contract, we finish out the home. So we've co-termed the finish out with the actual escrow of the home and getting that home sold. So we can save about 30 days. So instead of having a 4-month timeline, we've really cut that down to 3 to 3.5 months. If you say it was going to be listed on market for 2 weeks anyway.
That's awesome. I'm intrigued by the business. I look forward to seeing where the story goes. But thanks for sharing this. It's interesting. And again, like for first year, the stat is like 67% of franchisors don't award a unit in their first year of being a franchisor.
I would not believe that.
Yeah. I mean, you're doing the right thing. So, Andrew, thanks for doing this. Really appreciate it.
Sure, Nick. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, and really enjoyed Fran Camp in Chicago a couple weeks ago.
It's great. Well, for Andrew, I'm Nick, and this is another episode of Meet the Zor.